Hello everybody and welcome to Plymouth. Now ironically my first bus will be a stagecoach bus, but for the rest of the day I would be sampling a few of the more interesting and buses that could be going soon, Plymouth Citybus vehicles, mainly the 6-pot Enviro200s. I absolutely love 6-pot buses and I've never actually been on a 6-pot Enviro200 before, and when I went to Plymouth a few months ago, maybe even years ago now, I'm not too sure, when I first heard them I thought, that sounds amazing, that is not a regular Enviro200. Now I love my buses, but the 6-pot ones are some of the best buses, along with the old Dennis Darts and Trident. Anyway, here's my first bus arriving, which is ironically a stagecoach bus. This is one of the Optare Solo SRs that has recently transferred from Exeter. I think it transferred from Exeter, and even before then it could have been one of the Scottish ones, I'm not entirely sure. This did have a destination board fitted, but it wasn't working, which isn't really useful to be honest. Anyway, let's head out to the outskirts of Plymouth, or nearly the outskirts, I didn't go all the way out, to head back in on the 16A service. Here I am passing one of the Plymouth Citybus depots. Here you can see a few Plymouth Citybus vehicles, as well as some more interesting vehicles, such as some Scania Omnideckers, both in the Dart Line Red and the Plymouth Citybus livery, as well as a few Dart Line coaches that by the looks of it have been repainted into the new red colour scheme, which was introduced not long after Go Ahead bought Dart Line from Stagecoach, and I believe Stagecoach bought it from whoever owned it before. I believe it was an independent operator. Here I am getting off the bus near North Prospect. Here is my next bus arriving into North Prospect, which is my first Plymouth Citybus 6-pot Enviro200. This was on the 16A service and had the older orange blinds, and I'll be taking this right into the city centre at Derry's Cross. I think it was called Derry's Cross, I'll check a bit later on, as I do come back there. Now this was the bus I was not supposed to be making, I was supposed to be making the one after this, but I didn't actually see that on bus times at all, so either that got cancelled or I looked at a completely different schedule. Maybe I looked at the Saturday schedule or something, I'm not really too sure. Anyway, this was an absolutely amazing bus, and if you like 6-pot E200s, well stay tuned, because I got on a few more of them. As I make my way into Plymouth city centre, here I am passing one of Go Cornwall's buses, part of Go Ahead as well, Enviro200s. I couldn't tell which one this was, but I do know that recently, I think they got some a few months ago, a few buses from the Oxford area came down to Go Cornwall bus, and these buses used to be hybrid buses. I don't think they are anymore though. Here I am arriving into Derry's Cross, which is located at the western end of the Royal Parade area, which is where most of the buses used to stop. A few of them do stop elsewhere in Plymouth city centre now, as part of the Royal Parade is being dug up. I believe they're refurbishing the bus stop. By the looks of it, they're making them more bay style, so it does actually look like a proper bus station, considering there is also a Plymouth Citybus office located in the local area. Anyway, after getting something from Costa, here I am crossing onto the other side of the Royal Parade to get onto my next 6-pot ADL Enviro200, which would be on the 33 service, and I'll be taking this to the dockyard area of Plymouth. Here I am passing underneath Plymouth railway station. From here we branch off into the suburbs around Keam and Dockyard, whereas most of the other main services continue on to St Budo. Here I am passing through the suburban area around Ford and Dockyard, which is located just south of Keele. Here I am arriving at the Dockyard car park stop, which as the name suggests is located in the Dockyard area. One thing I didn't realise is that just past that big viaduct there, which is where the railway crosses, is Dockyard railway station. We went pretty close to passing it, though I don't think we passed it, and if we did, it wasn't an obvious sign because I really didn't see it. I believe it is one of the least used stations in the Plymouth area and is a request stop on the main line, which is quite unusual. Anyway, here I am walking to a nearby stop to get on the very frequent, I believe it runs around every 10 minutes, 21 and 21A routes. These used to operate with diesel ADL Enviro200s Citybuses branded in the Spark livery, which I thought looked quite nice, but now those have been shifted onto other routes, which makes the Spark branding a little bit pointless, as the buses have now been replaced on the 21 and 21A routes with newer electric right street deck electroliners, which look pretty decent in the Plymouth Citybus red livery.
Bota dinheiro na firma para ela fazer o negócio dela. Primeiro já tem vontade de trabalhar com essas coisas. Você não tem vontade de receber, pedir dinheiro, vontade de trabalhar no tens, não tens. Isto é, nem tens, nem consegues ter, isso depende da ajuda.
Here I am passing through the Devonport area of Plymouth, which gets quite popular with younger bus passengers, as I found out. I was quite surprised to see a lot of younger passengers, especially around my age, using the bus service here. I'm usually the only person my age using the buses, at least in Somerset. A lot of people, even in Bristol, are older people, and a lot of the younger people just stick to walking or getting a lift with their parents. I, meanwhile, do use the bus quite a lot, although saying that, it can become quite costly, especially when you can't use your disabled bus pass before 9:30 on a weekday, which I think is stupid. Sure, £1.50 is cheap, but when you have to pay that every single day, it gets quite costly. Anyway, from here onwards, the bus got quite busy with not only other younger passengers, but some older people as well. So I kind of stuck out the way and kept filming to a minimum. I don't like filming around other people very much, which makes it quite hard to film buses.
You're a great comedian.
Here I am arriving into Derry's Cross again, where I will transfer onto the Plymouth Citybus 5 service to tick off another 6-spot Enviro200. Here a lot of people got off, as it is the closest stop to all of the shops located in Plymouth city centre. I'm unsure if the bus used to stop on the Royal Parade, but if it did, and even if it didn't, it's now being dug up, so along with the amount of traffic here, the bus does get delayed because it has to stop at Derry's Cross, which isn't an overly large bus stop, so when multiple bus services stop here, it can get very congested. I do quite like the Right Street Deck electroliners, even if they do make a really annoying noise. I do prefer ADL vehicles, however, but I still think they look quite nice in the Plymouth Citybus tramlines livery. It is a shame though that the logo is plain white on these, instead of having the older white and yellow livery that the 6-spot Enviro200s like this one on the 5 service that Elbertson currently wear. I'm now going to be taking this 6-spot Enviro200 on the 5 service. Here I am passing one of the more stranger Enviro200s in the Plymouth Citybus fleet. I think this is ex-London and used to be dual door, but I'm not too sure on that one. I would have quite liked to ride on that Enviro200, especially since this is my last 6-point Enviro200, and my next bus, which is also an Enviro200, was definitely not as exciting as this one. Here I am arriving at the stop on the opposite side of the road, which is located in the Pomfret or Pomflet area of Plymouth. I'm not too sure how you would pronounce it, I could be pronouncing it completely wrong. Anyway, I didn't film too much on the Enviro200 on the way back. It was quite a boring bus and the driver didn't like me filming, which is fair enough. Anyway, because I took that E200, a very boring one at that point, back into the city centre, it meant I made the 1:61 bus service, which would take me back into Plymouth railway station. This was one of the Spark ADL Enviro200 cities and was quite nice on the inside. On the outside they do have Spark branding, but I'm unsure if on the inside the branding that they have on the seats is just standard for Plymouth Citybus Enviro200 cities, or if it is exclusive to the Spark vehicles. Here I am arriving at the bus stop located across the road from Plymouth railway station. As I alight the bus and head back to Plymouth station to get on my train back home, which was very busy, thank you very much for watching this video, and can we get to 1,000 subscribers by Christmas? I suppose it depends when I get this video out. I've got a massive backlog of videos. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!